What is going on, everybody? How you doing today? My name is Jim Games, and I'm going to be continuing my journey on learning about the band BTS. Now, I don't really know the music of BTS. In fact, I'm pretty blind to it. It hasn't been my thing. It has never been in my wheelhouse. However, a couple weeks ago, I reacted to the song Butter, and I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool. I thought it was poppy. I thought it was incredibly polished, and it was just a cool little jam. However, I got so many comments from people saying this is a great song. It's a nice, cool, feel-good summer song, but there is so much more to this band. And usually you'll get a couple of those comments on these reactions, super fans and whatnot. But I was surprised when I was flooded with literally thousands of these comments saying, you have to keep digging. This goes so much deeper. Their lyrics have depth to them. They talk about important social issues. They have an actual moral compass. They have very humble beginnings. These are all things that I find incredibly interesting. So I thought, well, you're kind of in a unique position here. What I can do is I can learn about BTS, where they came from, what goes into writing these songs, who they are as musicians, how they write these songs, how much involvement they have in the music, their trial and tribulations to get from point A to point B. And then when I'm done with all of that, once I have a better understanding of them as a whole, then I can have a reaction to them. And it'll be something incredibly authentic because I will have a great understanding of who they are and why they write music the way that they do and possibly what may have gone into it, and then actually hear what that is. So I'm going to be doing that. So if you'd like to join me for that journey, please consider liking and subscribing because over the next couple weeks, I am going to be doing a deep dive into the band BTS. So hopefully I'll see you around. Let's see here. Let's switch screens and let's get right on into today's video. So this one is BTS Hardships. Again, it's from the same YouTube channel, X Celeste. I really enjoyed the first one that she did there. It was incredibly informative and just fun to watch. So I figured it'd be kind of fun to stick with the same format and the same uploader. So big shout out to X Celeste. I'm going to be sure to link her down there. So today's video is BTS Hardships. Now, why did I want to jump right to this one? Well, I'm hoping this is going to tell me about some of their beginnings. A band is really only as strong as some of the things that they have gone through, and hardships are kind of crazy. I can only imagine what sort of hardships that they might have, been exposed to. I know a little bit that they, from the last video, that they had some sort of like copyright issues and people were saying that they looked or dressed like a certain other group of musicians or something like that. And there was some horrendous Twitter attacks on some of the band members and some of the fans of this group. So I wanted to start off here. I think next week I'm going to do an introduction to the 7 individual members and learn about each individual member as a whole. But I think it'd be kind of interesting to start off here and realize, well, where did this start? When did it get bad? Because if a band has enough, enough drive and enough passion to get through some of these hardships, I feel like that kind of speaks volumes to their character and their work ethic. So I wanted to start with the hardships first. So that's what we're going to do today. All right, let's get right on into the video. Here we go. Exactly. That's something about just the fandom surrounding BTS. Like, I know this is kind of a fan-made video here, and their main thing here is like, let's stay humble, like moving forward. The fandom is kind of what really sucked me into these guys. It's not the music. Normally the music is what sucks me in and then I learn more. I'm kind of doing things in reverse here, and the fandom is sucking me in, and I'm very interested as to why they're so popular and what connects them with people. And this is a prime example of some of the positivity I've talked about in previous videos I've released. Let's keep this thing going here. BTS Army Hardships.
말씀이세요?
방탄소년단 무대에 올라갔을 때 뭐 이제 분장을 한다.
맞아요.
또 메이크업을 하는 거 이제 어떤 힙합과 충돌되는
아니
부분이
아니
있을 것 같은데.
그냥 그런 게 아니라 여자.
What? Oh, shut the front door. Come on.
아 그래요? 여자같이 입고 다니는 게 여장이
I
아니에요?
can take this so much.
Okay, so that looked like it was some sort of radio interview there, and someone said, you know, it's like being a girl or whatever, and you're not a real rapper or a hip hop artist. You know, to me, rap and hip hop and you know, in genres like that in general, when done well, it's actually poetry. It's expression. It's you know, it's your soul escaping your body and trying to share that I don't know that general frequency with somebody else. And I don't think what you're wearing or how you dress or if you wear makeup should be any sort of like knock against you. I think if anything, it should just further the expression of maybe what you're trying to piece together. That's in severe bad taste. I feel like, come on, we're living in a new society here. Somebody wants to wear makeup? Let them wear makeup, you know? Here we go. It's upsetting. Yeah, so in the last video, they talked a lot about Big Hit Entertainment and about how they're a smaller company and they've grown together, and now Big Hit is this massive, you know, company at this point because they founded and they have this, you know, worldwide success from BTS and now maybe some other artists as well. It's a shame that they struggle with depression, but it really just kind of goes to show you that, you know, depression can kind of be anywhere with anyone. You know, you look at somebody that's incredibly successful or happy or smiling all the time and always puts forward a positive vibe, but you don't know what people are going through, you know, in the shadows. You know, you just never know. And I feel like that's why it's important to always be humble and just generally nice and accepting of whoever, because we don't know what other battles anybody's fighting in the shadows by themselves. And, you know, even to a point where, you know, you got one of the members here that says he struggled with depressions before, you know, the debut days and you know, before this thing came to fruition. I guarantee this guy probably still struggles with depression now. It's not something that really ever goes away. It's just something that kind of lingers with you, unfortunately. I know that from personal experience, and it's not fun, and I do not wish that on my worst enemy. Depression is it's a hell of a thing. But I also find it a bit endearing too, because usually when you struggle from something like depression or anxiety and stuff like that, you kind of want to be in the background. You kind of don't ever want to be center stage or, you know, in front of a camera or any of that, because you just kind of want to quietly disappear. You know, you just want to fade in the background. You don't want too much attention on you because maybe you're not feeling your best, you know, and it's kind of like this fuzz that's around you all the time. So I applaud this guy. I'm sorry, I forgot which guy's that name that was. Was it Jay something? I applaud him for continuing to push forward with a project and push forward with his art, knowing from a real place how difficult that can be. So that's interesting to hear. And I heard that they do talk and sing a lot about mental health struggles and things like that. And that was one of the main reasons that I decided to continue with BTS. And why I want to learn more, because that's something that's personally very important to me. All right, let's keep on moving along. This is February 2014. What happened? That is awesome. That's the thing that I like to see. This is the main thing so far that is intriguing me about this band. You know, when you're in the spotlight, when you do put yourself in front of that camera, you're bound just to get haters. You're bound to get people that are going to say anything, some horrible, horrible things, from the safety of their keyboard, and they still hurt. They still cut. You know, some things are said that are like, you might feel a little self-conscious about. I get stuff said about me. I get it. I know. And obviously it's not on a level of BTS, but I get it. And I think we all have too. And I think it's something that we can all relate to. And it is a form of bullying. It's a form of bullying. And it's also just a jerk move, but when that happens, what I like to do is I like to put myself in the position of the person attacking. And as much as you want to kind of wring their neck or say, lash out at them or say something horrible back or, feed into this negativity spiral, sometimes what I'll do is I'll put myself in the position of the person that left me that nasty comment. And I'll say, well, what kind of struggles are they going through in their head right now that they have to reach out and try and do something like this? What's beautiful about this story is that the Army had their back. They brought them back. They trended a different topic. They trended a more positive thing in this light. And I think it's beautiful. I think it's awesome. I think, people that are genuine, it feeds on each other. And people can recognize that. And they want to be around that. They want to be a part of something like that. I know at least I do. And it's beautiful to see. And again, it's another reason why the Army has really fascinated me behind this band, because like I said, it's just oozing positivity, and it just feels like people really just kind of have each other's back here. But that's horrible. That's horrible, like that, to be called out on that kind of scale. I don't know. So that's something they touched on in the last video here about a record company buying its own albums to fluff numbers, to make things look better than they are, to appease Billboard charts or make yourself seem popular so more people buy your album. What we just saw there in the video there was that one room where all 7 of these guys were sleeping together in bunk beds and crammed in together. I grew up in a big family. It's not fun when you're crammed in with your brothers, no matter how much you love them. It's sacrifice. It's sacrifice for your art. And they said that, Big Hit just didn't have the money to be able to go and do that. Now, I believe what they're talking about is actual physical purchases of these CDs, or the records or whatnot, not so much as in streaming services. That's kind of where we see a problem here in America nowadays, where like they'll put a bot in through like Spotify or something to get like, a million views on a song, where it really was just like one bot playing the same thing over and over again. And they do those sort of things to fluff those numbers, and it doesn't really give you any sort of financial gain. What it does is it gives you like just more of a clout type thing, and you do see that from time to time with some artists here and there. It's pretty obvious. But this here, they're talking more about physical copies of the sales as to probably to opposed to streaming, or maybe it's a combination between the two of them. But again, probably just like I said, didn't have the resources to do it. But I mean, that's a horrible thing to be accused of. You finally put your art out there. People are digging it. You see that you're starting to get a following. You see that you're starting to get an audience. And then someone's going to come over and say, well, no, this is fake because, you're faking it somehow, or that your record company is buying it. everything that I've heard from Big Hit so far has been pretty cool. You know, their mission statement and just kind of seems like who the CEO is as a person and how he developed BTS as a talent. Doesn't seem like it's something they would be doing. It doesn't seem like it's in their moral compass, at least so far from what I've learned. Let's continue. Death threats. What? Okay, this is something I've never understood. Is like the death threats. You know, I got cyberbullying. You know, being mean, being a keyboard warrior. You know, being a jerk online. I get it. You know, I understand it at least, but to actually threaten to take somebody else's life, that's something completely different. And it sounds like they had to take it serious by canceling shows, and it happened more than one time. I mean, you got to kind of feel for the guys a little bit if they are getting death threats. You know, I mean, how often does anybody ever threaten to kill you? And you got to take it serious because you just don't know who's out there or what's going to happen. But I wonder why somebody would send them a death threat. Do people like really hate these people that much that they want to kill them? What would MV have done to warrant such a threat? I don't know. If you guys know, let me know. Maybe there's more to the death threats than they're saying. Misogyny. Really? I want to talk about that for a second. All right. So you get accused of having misogynistic lyrics that are depicting women in as objects, you know, or as less than, or something like that. It's easy to do, and it's a very popular thing to do. You know, I got so many ladies in my arms, cars in the garage, you know, like that kind of nonsensical lyrics that you hear in music from time to time, bragging about having, you know, so many women as objects. Or being insensitive to them in general. It's something that's been done, you know, over the past, well, geez, I mean, almost for the history of music up until now, forever. You know, there's always been misogynistic lyrics and themes in music, in art, and in movies, well, in everything. It's not just music. Now that I think about it, it's in everything. We're not very good to our women. But I feel like we're trying to get a little bit better. And what's really endearing about this to me is the fact that he just said, okay, well, maybe I didn't mean it to be misogynistic. Maybe I didn't mean to come across that way, to have these lyrics. That wasn't the main goal. I was just creating music and putting sounds together, and this is just kind of the way that it came out. But he took the time to really kind of step back and say, well, let's correct this problem. Let's fix this problem by, you know, learning more about women's studies and you know, contacting people that are in that world and, you know, what's important to them. I feel like that's important, you know. It's important to give people that kind of respect, you know, especially when it's half of people. It's just the women. I mean, you know, so many people can get like all bent out of shape about pronouns or whatever. And I say, you know what, if that's what they want to be called, I mean, isn't it just the decent thing to do? Call them what they want to be called, you know? You don't. And it seems like that's kind of the mindset that he was in as well. He's like, okay, well, maybe I was being insensitive without even knowing it, and let's correct this problem. Awesome. Awesome to see. I dig it. Oh, my God. But that's the thing. You know, they talked about this before, saying that they were being accused of plagiarism, you know, for having like the schoolboy outfits. And then now this thing is saying, oh, well, some of the colors were the same or some of the poses they were in were the same. Come on. Come on. Come on. You can accuse them of plagiarism if they are using other people's melodies, if they are just taking people's beats, if they're taking their lyrics without giving credit to them, if they're sampling in some way without giving credit. That is plagiarism, not posing like somebody else. Oh, you own that hair color now? Oh, that's you now, that's yours. You just own that. Okay. Oh, you own the schoolboy thing? Oh, weird. Okay. It's a schoolboy thing. I kind of remember this old band called AC/DC doing something with schoolboys, but hey, whatever. If you remember AC/DC, they dressed up as schoolboys, and they still do. I mean, but saying that they're copying other people's looks by how they stand or pose or by using certain colors, that's not owned by any one person. That's owned by society in general. That's owned by the universe. Nobody owns color. Crazy. It's crazy the lengths people will go to.
환호가 끝나기도 전에 비난이 몰려왔다. 열심히 하는 것만으로는 아무것도 이룰 수 없을 것 같았다. 꿈, 열정, 노력은 아무 힘이 없는 것 같았다.
Why? I just don't understand why they're trying to trend these topics and basically diminish them as artists. Why? What makes somebody want to go out of their way to do that? Maybe they see some kind of success and they get jealous and or whatever. That's crazy. What's endearing, what's cool about this though, and seeing it is that the fan base seems to have their back and say, well, we're going to do our own little hashtag to show that hey, we care. But it's still gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. If you're looking at Twitter in Korea and you're seeing plagiarism boys pop up as #1 and that's your face on it. It seems like there's just a lot of people that don't like them, but it seems like there's even more people that have their back. But such is life, I guess, You're not gonna win over everybody. But it's amazing how many people will just go out of their way to try and hurt you for the sole purpose of hurting you. That's why it's important to surround yourself with like-minded people that are positive and have your best interest in mind and want good things for you. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
최근에 저희 할머니가 돌아가셨거든요. 제가 이 상황에서는 그 당시에 저한테는 14년간 부모님만큼 저를 키워주신 부모님 같은 존재였고 저희 뮤직뱅크 첫 1위 할 때 피땀도 물론 그때 저희 할머니가 4부제였어요. 49제. 그래서 처음으로 할머니한테 월급 한 번만 했어요.
Oh my God, that angers me so much. That angers me so much. Here's this guy laying out his heart, talking about something deeply, deeply personal to him, his blood. And there's still going to be people out there that are going to accuse you of doing it for attention, doing it for whatever reason. Did that look like that was attention grabbing? Did he look his best? Was he wearing his best clothes? Because to me, it looked like somebody that had been through some stuff. His skin was all blotchy. His eyes were swollen. You could hear the cracks in his voice. Obviously, he's speaking a different language, so it's hard for me to hear the intricacies, but I read the closed caption, the subtitles there. No, that's somebody that's hurting. It's somebody that is hurting. And these people are just going behind. These people are just. It's just gross, man. It's just gross. That one upset me. That one really upset me.
방탄소년단 축하드립니다.
Good news. Wow. But why? Awesome, man. It's hard not to get, upset with that, it's hard not to be upset with, some of the horrible things that were said and done. But it's, I don't know, I mean, you kind of expect it, you put yourself out there, but it's got to be hard. It's got to be hard not to be cynical. One thing that surprised me about basically I guess maybe the fandom of BTS is the positivity and just the humbleness, the way people interact with one another, just the general pleasantness of the people associated with this group. And it's surprising to me that they're not a little bit more cynical, that they're not a little bit more upset or angry. Maybe they are. Maybe I just haven't seen it yet. Maybe it's just not something. Maybe it's something I'll see once this video posts. But even throughout the theme of this whole video is not saying, hey, this isn't, we're not just bashing or trying to get angry or worked up, even though I feel a little worked up. Even though it's not the purpose. It's basically to show this is the things that they had to deal with to get to where they are now. You know, when someone makes fun of you for or calls you fake or is constantly doubting you by the thousands, the #1 hashtag in your country, like that's got to get under your skin. That's got to get to you to some degree, especially when you're putting your heart, soul, and money into a production like this. It's difficult. I can't help but feel for these guys, but I also feel like I have a bit more respect for them now, knowing some of their hardship that they went through, because through these hardships you get that strength, you know, and you have to really want it to be able to deal with this, because you know you always hear about, you know, to get something done it requires hard work. Well, that's part of it. Hard work is a big part of it, but then there's also this side of it, the psychological side of it. And I don't care who you are, it's got to get to you. And to be able to basically put those things aside and say, you know, we're going to continue to, you know, do things the way that we want to do them with our moral compass in mind, and not let these haters get to us. I respect it. I do. I truly do. Because when you're pouring your heart and soul out there, like in your stage, like that guy was when he was talking about the death of a family member, you know, that guy was just breaking down, you know, and you could hear it in the audience too. Like just the way that, like, I almost like it, if you could feel the energy in the room in just that little clip, you know, like you could just, it almost like the air was just sucked out of everybody. And that's kind of how you feel when somebody dies. And even though it was, you know, his grandmother, it kind of felt like it was affecting all of them in a way, because they have that sort of relationship with their fans. It's wild. It's wild that they do. It's wild that they have that sort of connection with people and their fans. And it's wild to see where they, you know, where they came from and what they had to go through. But honestly, it just makes all the sweeter things in life that much more sweeter, you know, because you've gone past this. You've hurtled over this. And I'll say it again. I've said it before. The thing that really, so far, that surprised me about this band, because I haven't really heard the music, is the fans. The fans of these guys, having their back, you know. I don't know. It just seems like it's such an incredibly positive group of people. I know this one's kind of a bummer, guys. I feel a little bummed out after doing this video. I definitely have a bit more respect for the guys at this point. But I can't help but feel in the pit of my stomach, like that gross feeling you get from just dealing with haters from time to time. But you know what? They rose above it. This video's main goal here was to say, let's not, you know, focus and get, you know, consumed with the negativity. That's not what we are. That's not what they want. That's not the mission statement from the CEO of Big Hit. That's not the goal here. That's not what they're trying to do. So I'm going to take a page out of their book, and I'm going to try and be positive about it. You know, I think it's the best way to do it. And I don't know where I'm going to go from here next. Maybe there's a video next I can do learning about, I think what I want to do is I want to learn about the individual members of the band, because up to this point it's been a generalization of, hey, this is BTS, they started over here with very poor, humble beginnings, now they're a massive success, I know that. Now we've learned about some of their trials and tribulation, their hardships, some of the, you know, the horrible things they had to go through to get where they are right now. So I feel like the next logical step is to really just learn about each individual member. Now, they kind of touched on that a little bit here and there by mentioning that one of the members has dealt with depression. That strikes a chord with me. I also have depression, and it's not fun. And I think at this point, it's probably the best to learn about each individual member, their roles in the band. And I think it's gonna really help when it comes time to be listening to the music. I think it's gonna give it more of a, I think it's gonna make it a little bit more dramatic. And I think it's also gonna mean something more, like understanding them as artists before hearing their music. And I think it's just unique, man. You know, it's just unique. You know, I mean, this is what you get sucked into a band. You hear one song and then you just go through their YouTube channel and you listen to it, all of it. You just binge it, right? I'm kind of doing the opposite right now. And I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be cool. I'm not going to lie. I'm starting to itch. I'm starting to get that itch though, and I want to hear some of the music. So I don't know how long I can keep this up for, but at least for the next couple of videos, I'm going to be learning more about BTS. If you have any information for me that you want to share, any thoughts, what they mean to you, what these hardships mean to you, how you you think about the guys now after learning about some of their hardship? Do you hold them in higher regards? Do you think it's complete BS what they had to go through? Do you think there's any truth to it? Let me know in the comments, guys. Keep the conversation going, because I keep a close eye on those comments too, and it's also helping me learn as well. So I truly appreciate that. Like I said before, please consider liking and subscribing if you want to join me on this this little crazy rabbit hole journey. I'd love to have you here, and it truly helped me out a lot. And yeah, I think that's all I got to say about that video. Again, big shout out to X Celeste for putting this video out, and I'm going to catch you guys out on the next video. Bye, everybody.